Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
My little brother perved on my wife and took explicit pictures. Background: since lockdown, my brother, 19, has been living with me, 38, and my wife, 37, when his university closed. He couldn't stay with our parents since they had recently sold their home and moved into a one-bedroom apartment, and our sister lived in another part of the nation. He was the oops baby, so I'm hoping that explains the age difference. My wife and I had a 5-bedroom house but no children. We planned to adopt 2 children in our 40s, so we let him remain. My brother has always been unusual. He's a bit of a loner, with few pals outside of his online community. He's a timid, geeky guy, but once you get to know him, he's okay, or so I thought. So here's what went down. Because the internet does not reach my brother's room, he normally performs his schoolwork and other tasks in the dining room. I was heading to the fridge a few nights ago after waking up in the middle of the night. Wife and I sleep early when I saw my brother working on something, and as I went closer, I noticed an extremely compromising image of my wife, cleavage shot as she was gardening. He spotted me and hastily shut the window, as if he were viewing porn. I was too stunned to say anything, so he simply grinned uncomfortably and rushed to his room with the laptop. When I recognized there was something wrong, I knew I had to find out what it was. The following day, I asked my brother to pick up some groceries and lunch for us, and while he was gone, I went to his room, which I hadn't done since he moved. And it wasn't beautiful. I spotted a few of my wife's bras and some of her underwear, which I suppose he used for pleasure. I seized his laptop and decided to spy on him. I knew his password since I borrowed his Crunchyroll account to watch an anime suggested by a friend. I don't often watch anime. I came upon some of the most revolting entries I'd ever read. There were photos of my wife in a towel, working out in compromising postures, and so on. By the looks of it, everything was done without her permission. Every time he touches himself to the picture of my wife, he even records it. What's the scariest part? He sometimes listens in on our intercourse. My wife can be a little noisy, but we didn't believe it would be an issue since his bedroom was in another part of the home, guest bedroom. I walked out of the room feeling like I needed to take a shower. It was extremely repulsive. Now I'm at a loss on what to do. Every time I see him, I battle the temptation to pound him into next week. I haven't informed my wife yet since I'm certain she would feel violated and disgusted. So I want to find the best answer first. I really want to throw him out, but he doesn't have somewhere else to go. What should I tell my parents if I do? What is the truth? This will very certainly split the family apart. I intend to inform my wife shortly, but if I do, I can practically promise she will reject him and refuse to see the family if he is there. I'm completely lost right now. Any suggestions would be beneficial. I'm still resisting the impulse to pummel my brother. If you're asking, yes, I did snap photos as evidence. Edit #2, I informed my wife. I'm giving her complete authority over what she does about it. There has been a lot that has transpired, yet there are still issues that need to be resolved. No, I'm not planning to beat up my brother, but I've considered it. First and foremost, thank you to the Redditors who pointed out that I should inform my wife before approaching my brother. She did enjoy the fact that I gave her power over the matter. You were correct. I informed my wife the following day after posting, and she didn't take it well. She feels molested and insecure in her own house, she claims. My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, so we have actually seen this child grow up. We brought him to the movies, to the beach, and so on. My dad and I used to joke that he was our practice baby. My wife has a general suspicion of people since many individuals in her life have let her down in the past. Imagine how sad and betrayed she felt when she discovered that someone she trusted and loved had deceived her in such a way. To be honest, if I hadn't been comforting my wife at the time, I would have carried out my first plan and beaten the living daylights out of my brother. I contacted my sister and told her about the scenario after she had calmed down and gone to sleep. Because we are Irish twins, my sister and I are quite close. I believe she needed to know since she has 2 teenage children, and who knows what my brother may do to them if given the opportunity. We spoke, and she was plainly irritated. She adores my wife as if she were a sister, and the two of them are quite close. She said that she will back any choice we made, and that our brother would be unwanted in her home in the future. After that, we faced my brother. He first denied everything, but when I gave him the proof, he burst into tears and begged us to forgive him. I issued an ultimatum to him. Either he gives me access to his phone and laptop and deletes everything, or I contact the cops. There was a lot more on his computer than I first believed. There are so many more stolen images of my wife that were clearly shot without her agreement. The audio of us having was even captured. Who would do that? So, after hours of searching for as much as I could and cleaning off much of his hard drive, he ultimately departed without much of a struggle. Oh, and we absolutely threw away my wife's filthy underwear and will most likely have the room he slept in thoroughly cleaned. I looked, and happily, there were no concealed cameras everywhere. Oh, and in case you're wondering how he acquired photos of my wife in a towel, my wife takes the common shower in the same location since the master shower doesn't have hot water yet. She generally leave the bathroom with just a towel and go change in our walk-in closet. This shouldn't have been an issue since the guest bedroom was in a separate area of the home away from the main bedrooms and had its own bathroom, so my brother had no need to stay there. Needless to say, my wife is still upset by the entire event, which is why I haven't written an update until now. I'm sorry, but my wife's well-being takes precedence above anything else. My mother soon phoned to find out what had transpired. She sounded perplexed, so I assumed my brother hadn't told her anything. I told her what had occurred, and it's safe to assume it didn't end well. She continued pleading with me to forgive my brother and accept him back into my life. She lamented how tough it would be to support him and how what I'm doing is tearing the family apart. I let her speak until I finally told her that my brother was no longer welcome in my house. I told her that she needed to get him counseling, and that there was no way we'd ever see him until then. My mother said she'd speak to my sister about it, and I replied, "Good luck." She's also enraged with him. I'm not sure what will happen to our family now. We acquired the huge home because we wanted everyone to come over for the holidays and stay with us, but I'm not sure my parents will at this point, and there's no way my brother will ever come back. Fortunately, my sister is completely on my side, and we're going to speak about what we're going to do for Thanksgiving shortly. My wife hasn't been herself, but she's improving now that my brother has gone. We're talking about therapy, which she's extremely interested in trying. We went to the beach earlier in the day and spoke about the future. We both decided that after this COVID thing is through, we'll finally start our family with children. We'd want to. Being a mother has always been something she desired, but we both wanted to be financially comfortable enough to provide a decent life, spend time with them. When we spoke about our life with kids, the twinkle in her eyes told me that despite things aren't going well right now, we'll be fine. I can't wait to be a father myself. So, long story short, my brother is no longer alive, my wife is still depressed, my sister is on my side but my mother isn't, and I'll be a father in a few years. Thank you to everyone who provided me advice. It really helped me in clearing my mind and making the correct choice to notify my wife first. Oh, and to address any queries that may arise. No, we did not call the cops. My brother intentionally destroyed everything and vanished without a trace. I'm sure the photos are still out there someplace, but luckily they aren't too graphic to jeopardize my wife's reputation. So once again, thank you to everyone who messaged or commented. I may not have read everything or responded to everyone, but please know that you are all deeply appreciated.